So today we'll be doing the basic user orientation for the Amazon material winch. First thing you want to start off with is the pre-use inspection. So the pre-use inspection will first, you want to do a overall visual inspection of the material winch. Basically what you're looking for is that there is no damage done to the actual body going across all the way up. It goes on the sides, on the back, on the front, through the housing of it, on both sides. And any damage or crinks or cracks or anything will not be able to be used. It'll have to be taken out of service until replaced. So one thing you want to look for when you're doing your pre-use inspection is the overall condition of the cable. So of course you can't take it all the way out, but you want to look starting with the hook. Make sure that your hook latches all the way. The hook is not deformed, it's not pulled out, no cracks, it's not broken, that it easily spins around. The thimble is secured, and then the swages are both in place. You don't see it starting to come apart, no cuts, frays. Then look up your wire rope all the way up and back around, and make sure there's no broken pieces, no broken strands, anything like that. Then just take a good look at the wraps going through here. Make sure you don't see any bulges, kinks, or anything that looks out of place in the wire rope. So second part of your inspection is going to be to make sure your clips are in, your pins. You'll have two pins in it. You'll have a bottom pin with a keeper and a top pin with a keeper. You want to make sure that they are both in place so that there's no movement throughout the hoist. Your second part of your visual inspection is going to be to look right over the side and make sure that the hoist is in the davit socket and that all the bolts are still tight. There's two on the left and then two on the right. So you just want to make sure they're still tight and that the lock washer is still compressed flat next to the flat washer. So now that we have done that, we want to look at the actual connection of the hoist to the davit itself. You want to make sure that these little round pins right here are still in place. This is what holds the actual winch into the carriage for the hoist. So we want to make sure those are in place and that all these bolts are still tight. They are used with lock nuts, so they shouldn't back out and they should always be tight. These are caps, these are tight, and these are tight through here. Anytime they start to get loose, they'll need to be tightened back up because it's going to cause your winch to try to move up. So you want to make sure it's nameplate still on it, and your maximum capacity of 600 pounds is still, sticker is still on it. It also has the product model, which is a material winch, and then it's got the date of manufacturer, the part number, and the serial number is still legible. So sometimes they will start to fade because they're just written in Sharpie, but you can always refer back to the one right here. It has the same information on it. Next, we'll go ahead and go over the use of the winch. So first thing to do is to look over, make sure your counterpart is down where you're going to be lifting the material up. The area is cordoned off. You've got barricades going around it because you are lifting something up in the air. So you need to make sure to have that area barricaded off in a safe zone. Amazon does require 20 foot around it. So you need to make sure you have a 20-foot zone all the way around it. So once you've verified down there with your coworker that everything is clear down through there, you can lower the winch down. So these tough built material winches require that you have at least 20 pounds of force, or 10 pounds of force, I'm sorry, to get the winch out. So the easiest way to do that is to, as you're lowering it, to put some pressure on it, and it'll come right down. What you will see is as you're coming down, you'll see this to start to spin off if you don't have pressure on it. that is the anti-braking mechanism that's inside of it. That's going to allow it to spin, and then it will stop in case you accidentally let this off with a load or anything like that. So you pull it all the way down. You'll use your proper rigging techniques to rig up whatever you're lifting up, whether it be a box of filters, a compressor, anything like that you're getting up to the roof. Make sure you do not exceed the 600-pound maximum capacity. So you go down, you see it comes out. You can see if I don't pull on it, what's going to happen is it's going to roll out. It won't come out any farther than that. It's only going to go to that second O-ring right there to the lip. But you can pull on it and it comes back, and it'll actually suck it in. And there you go. Some Amazons have put a dead weight ball, a 10-pound dead weight ball, right at the top of the swage. That way they do not have to pull it out manually by hand. They can just, that dead weight ball will act as the weight to help pull it down. So when you're coming back up, you hear the ratcheting effect. That's also the anti-braking mechanism, where it won't come back out on you if it should happen to slip out of your hand. So when you come back up, you can hear the ratcheting mechanism coming up, and you see the hoist coming up. Be sure to check your load as it comes up. Typically you would want it centered like this. Bring it up, paying attention to make sure your wraps are still going where they need to go and it's not bird caging up or anything. All the way up. Take, there's a pivot point around. You can swing your load around, and then you can place it down on the ground. Simple as this. Right. So these material winches, they do come with a speed handle. You can use a 1/2-inch chuck drill to help facilitate the lowering and raising of the material. To use that, simply going to loosen the lock nut here, the wing nut. You're going to pull off the handle, place it in a safe place away. Here is the speed attachment. It's a 1/7/16 socket, basically, with an adapter on it for a 1/2-inch chuck drill. You can hook this up to your drill, and then from there you can raise it and lower it using your drill. Do not use an impact. It can only be a regular 1/2-inch drill. The reason why you can't use the impact is because the ratcheting effect of the impact will end up tearing up the braking mechanism inside, and it will be rendered inoperable, and we'll have to replace it. Real simple to use, 1/2-inch chuck drill. You raise it, you can lower it. If the weight was on there or pulling down on it, it would lower it down itself. So works out great. It will be hooked up in what we call the reeved position. So what you will see is this hook will come down and will come back up, creating a loop, come back up to the top arm, and will hook into here. At that point in the loop, you're going to see this pulley right through here with the carabiner on it that's going to be sitting in the bottom of the loop. What this does is this allows you to use less force when you're winching up or winching down, to where you're cutting your force in half. So, but like I said, all Amazon the height buildings of the heights are different. So this one here, we cannot get it set up in the reeved position because we won't have enough wire rope strands left going all the way around on the winch itself. So this one here is set up. So I recommend always keeping that securing it right through here. Or another good way to do it is if you're worried about any type of hurricanes, strong storms, anything like that, and this blowing away, which I've never seen it happen, but I guess in an imperfect world it could. If you have handrail around it, you can always just take and hook it to there and just take the slack out of it right through there. That way you don't have to worry about this being pulled out during a hurricane or anything like this. This right here will hold it down.